How could you be so careless? This lab is compromised because of you.
I was following protocol. You're just looking for a scapegoat.
Trapped in the lab during a storm, strict professor begged for mercy. The thunder cracked like a whip across the ink-black sky, shattering the fragile quiet of the university lab. Rain lashed the windows in furious sheets, turning the world outside into a blurred watercolor of gray fury. Inside, under the harsh buzz of emergency lights that flickered like a dying heartbeat, Dr. Elena Reyes gripped the edge of the steel workbench, her knuckles whitening. She was 45, unyielding as the oak trees bending in the gale, head of the neuroscience department at Columbia University, a woman who'd built her empire on precision and fear. Her dark hair, usually pulled into a severe bun, had loosened in the chaos, strands clinging to her sweat-dampened neck like accusations. The air smelled of ozone and spilled coffee, sharp and bitter, mingling with the faint metallic tang of lab equipment humming on backup power. Across from her, barely 3 feet away in the narrow aisle between centrifuges and microscopes, stood Jamie Lynn, 25, Elena's star grad student, all fire and quiet rebellion wrapped in a lab coat that hung loose on her athletic frame. Jamie's black curls were wild from the wind that had howled through the halls before the doors sealed shut, her almond-shaped eyes, dark as polished obsidian, locked on Elena with a mix of defiance and something deeper, something that twisted in Elena's gut like a live wire. Jamie was American-born, raised in the concrete canyons of Queens, her parents' immigrant dreams fueling her relentless drive. She'd clawed her way into this program on scholarships and sheer will, but tonight, trapped by the storm that had knocked out the grid and jammed the electronic locks, those walls felt like they were closing in on more than just the two of them. "You shouldn't have stayed," Elena said, her voice a low rasp, edged with the authority that had silenced boardrooms and broken lesser students. But there was a tremor in it, a crack she couldn't seal. The power had surged once, twice, then died, leaving them in this limbo. Her phone was dead, the landline silent. The storm warnings had blared on every channel that afternoon, hurricane remnants barreling up from the Carolinas, a Category 2 beast they called Alera, devouring the coast. Elena had ignored them, buried in her research on neural pathways of trauma, ironic now as her own pulse thundered in her ears. Jamie crossed her arms, the sleeves of her coat brushing against a rack of test tubes that clinked softly, like wind chimes in hell. "And leave you here alone? With your precious grant deadline tomorrow." Her tone was light, but her eyes weren't. They burned with the unspoken. Months of late nights, Elena's clipped corrections turning into lingering glances over shared datasets, the brush of fingers when passing a pipette. Jamie had felt it building, that electric hum between them, forbidden in the sterile world of academia where Elena reigned supreme. Strict didn't begin to cover it. Elena was a fortress, her lectures delivered like verdicts, her feedback a scalpel. But Jamie had seen the chinks, the way Elena's gaze softened when Jamie laughed at a failed experiment, the late-night emails that veered from science to silences heavy with what-ifs. A gust rattled the windows and Elena flinched, her breath catching in a sharp inhale. She turned away, pretending to adjust a monitor that wouldn't boot, but her hands shook. The lab felt smaller now, the air thick with the scent of rain-soaked earth seeping through invisible cracks, and something else, jasmine from Jamie's shampoo, faint but intoxicating, cutting through the clinical chill. "This is my fault," Elena muttered, more to herself than the room. "I pushed too hard. Always do." Jamie stepped closer, the floor tiles cold under her sneakers, squeaking faintly. She could hear Elena's breathing ragged, like waves crashing against ribs. "Pushed what? The project? Or me?" The words hung there, bold and unfiltered, the hook that snagged them both. Jamie's heart hammered, a drumbeat echoing the thunder. She'd idolized Elena from day one, the woman who shattered glass ceilings in a field dominated by old white men. Her papers cited in every psych journal worth reading. But admiration had twisted into ache, late nights blurring into dreams where Elena's stern mouth curved into a smile just for her. Elena whirled, her brown eyes flashing like lightning strikes. "Don't," she warned, but it came out broken, a plea disguised as command. The space between them crackled, inches feeling like miles and nothing at all. Jamie's proximity was a heat source in the cooling room. The backup generators hummed the only underskirt to their standoff. Outside, a branch snapped, thudding against the building with a dull boom that vibrated through the walls. Elena's chest tightened. She hated storms, had since childhood in the Bronx, when hurricanes meant huddled in basements with her single mom, whispering prayers against the roar. Jamie didn't back down. She reached out, her fingers grazing Elena's wrist, cool skin against warm, a spark that made Elena gasp softly, the sound raw and unguarded. "Talk to me," Jamie whispered, her voice threading through the dim light like smoke. "For once, just talk. Not as my professor. As you." The dam cracked then, slow at first. Elena's shoulders slumped, the weight of years, divorces unspoken, affairs buried under tenure tracks, the loneliness of being the unbreakable one, pressing down. "I can't," she breathed, but her body betrayed her. Leaning into the touch, the faint scent of Jamie's citrus lotion wrapping around her like a lifeline. Thunder rolled again, closer, shaking vials on the shelves into a nervous rattle. In that moment, trapped not just by the storm but by the truth clawing up their throats, Elena felt the mercy she'd never begged for from anyone. Jamie's thumb traced a slow circle on Elena's pulse point, feeling it flutter like a trapped bird. "Why not? Because I'm your student? Because you're scared." Her words were soft, but they landed like punches, each one peeling back layers. Jamie's own fears bubbled up: rejection, the power imbalance that could end her career, the cultural whispers from her family back in Flushing who still dreamed of a nice Chinese boy for her. But here in this fluorescent tomb, none of that mattered. Only Elena unraveling. Elena pulled back, but not far, her back hitting the workbench, a beaker tipping precariously with a glassy scrape. "Scared? You think I get scared?" Laughter bubbled up, bitter and short, cut off by a sigh that echoed in the quiet. She slid down then, legs giving way until she sat on the cold floor, knees drawn up, the picture of defeat. Jamie followed without hesitation, knees popping softly as she knelt beside her, the tile biting through her jeans. The rain drummed a relentless rhythm, a curtain sealing them in. Elena's voice dropped to a whisper, confession spilling like the flood outside. "I was like you once, hungry, unafraid. Then I learned in this world women like us, we don't get to beg. We command, or we break." Her eyes met Jamie's, glistening in the low light, vulnerability raw as an open wound. The air hummed with it, the scent of wet wool from Elena's discarded jacket mingling with the sterile bite of ethanol wipes forgotten on a cart. Jamie shifted closer, their shoulders brushing, a contact that sent warmth blooming through the chill. She could hear Elena's heartbeat now, sinking with her own in the confined space. "Then break with me," Jamie said, her hand finding Elena's, fingers interlacing with a gentleness that belied the storm in her chest. No more hierarchies, no titles, just two women, American dreams tangled in desire, weathering the gale. Hours blurred as the storm raged, winds howling like banshees through the vents. They talked, halting at first, Elena's words clipped, then flooding. Stories of her first love, a fellow undergrad in the 90s, ended by whispers and stares in the halls. Jamie shared her own. Awkward crushes in high school, the relief of coming out in a city that swallowed secrets. Laughter slipped in, tentative, when Elena admitted to burning toast that morning, the char smell still on her clothes. Small details anchored them. The drip of a leaky faucet in the sink, plink-plink like a metronome, the way Jamie's breath hitched when Elena's knee nudged hers. But the high tide of emotion crested when the lights flickered again, plunging them into near darkness. Only the emergency exit sign's red glow painting their faces in crimson. Elena's hand tightened in Jamie's, a vice of need. "I can't do this," she murmured, but her body angled toward Jamie, drawn like gravity. The thunder answered, a boom that shook the core, and in its echo Jamie closed the gap. Their lips met, soft, tentative, a brush that tasted of salt and rain-kissed longing. Elena froze, then melted, a sigh escaping her like steam from a kettle, deep and shuddering. Jamie's free hand cupped Elena's jaw, thumb tracing the line where sternness met surrender. The kiss deepened, slow and cinematic, the world narrowing to the slick slide of mouths, the faint creak of the building settling around them. Heat built, coiling low, Jamie's pulse roaring louder than the gale. They broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed, breaths mingling in hot puffs. Elena's eyes, wide and wild, searched Jamie's. Mercy, she whispered, the word a beg, raw and stripped. Not for grades or grants but for the chance to feel without armor. Jamie nodded, pulling her closer, their bodies aligning on the floor in a tangle of limbs and lab coats, the storm outside forgotten in the one within. As the night wore on, they moved to the break room adjacent, a cramped space with a sagging couch that smelled of stale vending machine chips. Curled together under a blanket scavenged from a supply closet, threadbare but warm, they traced paths on skin, whispers weaving through touches. Elena's fingers, callous from pipettes and pens, explored Jamie's collarbone, eliciting soft gasps that echoed like secrets. Jamie's nails grazed Elena's back, drawing a low moan that vibrated against her throat. The air thickened with their scents, Elena's sandalwood perfume clashing sweetly with Jamie's fresh linen soap, building to crescendos that peaked in shudders and sighs, bodies arching in the dim red light. Dawn crept in slow, the rain easing to a patter, gray light seeping through blinds like hesitant forgiveness. They lay spent, limbs heavy, Elena's head on Jamie's chest, listening to the steady thump beneath. What now? Jamie murmured, fingers combing through Elena's hair, the strands silk soft in the morning hush. Elena lifted her head, eyes clear for the first time in years, the storm's fury mirrored in resolve. We face it. Together. No more begging, no more hiding, just truth laid bare like the soaked campus beyond. The power hummed back to life, lights buzzing on, but the real illumination was theirs, a meaningful dawn after the tempest. The click of the lights snapping fully on was like a judge's gavel, jolting them from the haze. Elena sat up first, blanket pooling around her waist, her blouse rumpled and half unbuttoned, a map of the night's explorations. She ran a hand through her hair, taming it with fingers that still trembled faintly, the ghost of Jamie's touch lingering. The lab break room looked different in full light. Coffee rings on the table, a forgotten protein bar wrapper crinkling underfoot as she stood. Outside, the storm had relented, leaving puddles like shattered mirrors on the quad, trees stripped bare but standing defiant. Jamie stretched, joints popping with a satisfying crack, her tea twisted up to reveal a sliver of toned midriff. She watched Elena move, that graceful efficiency masking the vulnerability they'd unearthed. Coffee? Jamie asked, voice husky from whispers and cries, nodding toward the ancient machine in the corner. It gurgled to life with a reluctant groan, the aroma blooming bitter, grounding, cutting through the faint musk of their intimacy. Elena nodded, leaning against the counter, arms crossed in that familiar defensive posture. But her eyes, soft now unguarded, betrayed her. Black. Strong. A pause, then softer. Like last night. The words hung laced with heat, and Jamie's laugh bubbled up, light as sunlight piercing clouds. She poured 2 mugs, steam curling like question marks, handing one over with fingers that brushed deliberately. Their gaze locked over the rim, sipping in sync, the hot liquid scalding tongues but soothing souls. The campus stirred faintly beyond, sirens wailing distant, a grounds crew's chainsaw buzzing like an angry hornet. But here time stretched elastic. We can't just pretend, Elena said finally, setting her mug down with a soft clink. Her voice was steady but her free hand fidgeted with a pen from her pocket, clicking it open and shut. Tick-tick, like a nervous heartbeat. The department. Ethics board. It's a minefield. Jamie stepped into her space, close enough to feel the warmth radiating, the faint hitch in Elena's breath. Then we navigate it. Side by side. Her hand found Elena's waist, thumb slipping under the blouse hem, tracing lazy circles on skin still flushed from dawn's fever. Elena's eyes fluttered half shut, a sigh escaping like wind through leaves. But she pulled back gently, resolve hardening. Not here. Not yet. She glanced at the clock. 6:47 a.m. The world would intrude soon. Emails piling up, students milling in halls slick with rain. Elena straightened her blouse, buttoning with precise fingers, but Jamie saw the reluctance, the way her lips parted as if to call her back. They parted at the lab door, a lingering kiss, salt-tinged, promising, before Elena slipped into the corridor, heels clicking on linoleum like fading echoes. Jamie lingered, touching her mouth, tasting Elena still, the break room suddenly vast and empty. Her phone buzzed to life as signal crept back. Text from roommates. You okay? Storm wrecked everything. She typed quick assurances, but her mind replayed flashes. Elena's nails digging in, her gasp sharp as shattering glass. By noon, the university hummed with damage reports. Classes canceled, roofs patched. But Elena's office door stayed shut, a brass nameplate gleaming under fluorescent strips. Dr. Elena Reyes, PhD inside. She stared at her computer screen, cursor blinking mockingly over the grant proposal. Words blurred. All she saw was Jamie's face in the red glow, eyes fierce with want. A knock, sharp, insistent, yanked her back. Enter, she called, voice clipped, the professor mask snapping on. It was Dean Hargrove, 60-something with a paunch and a tie loosened like surrender. Elena, hell of a night. Your lab okay? Heard the power dipped. Fine, she replied, forcing a smile thin as paper. Backup held. Minimal disruption. Lies, all of it, her world upended, heart racing at the mere thought of Jamie down the hall. He nodded, oblivious, droning about emergency funds. She half listened, nodding at intervals, but her mind wandered to the scent of Jamie's skin, the way her laughter had cracked the storm's grip. When he left, she slumped, head in hands, a groan escaping, deep frustrated. How had one night stripped her bare? Mercy begged, granted, now the reckoning. Across campus, in the Neuro Labs annex, Jamie calibrated equipment, hands steady on dials but thoughts swirling. Peers chattered about the storm. Dude, my car's totaled. But she tuned them out, replaying Elena's whispers. Don't stop. Heat flushed her cheeks. She busied herself with slides, the microscope's eyepiece cool against her skin. A text pinged from Elena. Meeting. 4 p.m. My office. Discreet. Jamie's pulse spiked, fingers flying. Yes, professor. Data review. The double meaning hummed, electric. Afternoon dragged, sun slanting golden through storm-washed windows, casting long shadows like fingers reaching. Jamie arrived early, knocking softly, heart thumping a bass line. Come in. Elena looked composed, hair rebundled, blouse crisp, but her eyes devoured Jamie, dark with hunger. The door clicked shut, lock turning with a decisive snick. Data, Elena echoed, voice low, stepping close. No preamble, her hands framed Jamie's face, pulling her into a kiss that scorched, urgent, teeth grazing lips, tongues tangling like vines. They stumbled back, Elena's desk edge biting into Jamie's thigh, papers rustling like dry leaves. Jamie's hands roamed, unbuttoning with fevered tugs, exposing lace that made Elena hiss. A sharp intake, pleasure pain. Here. Jamie murmured against her neck, nipping the pulse point, tasting salt. Everywhere. Elena breathed, fingers in Jamie's curls guiding her down. The desk creaked under their weight, a pen rolling off with a clatter, ink blotting the floor like spilled secrets. Jamie knelt, breath hot on Elena's thigh, sliding fabric aside with reverent slowness. Elena's gasp filled the room, raw, unfiltered. As Jamie's mouth found her, tongue tracing paths that arched Elena's back, a moan tearing free, muffled by her own fist. The world outside faded. Students laughing in the hall, a distant bell tolling 5. Their rhythm building, Elena's hips rocking in silent plea, fingers white-knuckled on the desk's edge. Release crashed over her like aftershock waves, body shuddering, a cry swallowed into Jamie's hair. She pulled her up then, kissing deep, tasting herself, the intimacy of vow. Panting, they straightened clothes, Elena's cheeks flushed wine-dark. It's not just storm madness. Her voice cracked, hand cupping Jamie's cheek, thumb brushing a stray curl. I want more. All of it. Jamie leaned in, forehead to forehead, breath sinking. Then take it. With me. The promise settled, heavy and sweet, as thunder rumbled faint in the distance. A reminder, not a threat. Evening fell soft, campus lights twinkling like stars reclaimed. They slipped out separately, but met blocks away at a dive bar in Morningside Heights. Neon sign flickering, Rhea's Refuge. Ironic now. Sticky tables, jukebox crooning Old Soul. The air thick with fry grease and spilled beer. Elena slid into the booth, shedding her coat, vulnerability peeking through like sunlight on waves. Whiskey neat, she ordered then to Jamie. You. Same. Their knees knocked under the table, a secret Morse code. Conversation flowed easy, childhood's in New York sprawl. Elena's Bronx stoops slick with summer rain. Jamie's dim sum Sundays in Flushing, chopsticks clacking like gunfire in dreams. Laughter came freer, Elena's head thrown back, throat exposed, making Jamie's mouth dry. But shadows crept in with the second round. My ex, Elena confessed, glass sweating in her grip. Married him to fit. Divorced when it choked me. Her eyes distant then snapping back. You? Ever? Jamie swirled her drink, ice clinking soft. A few. College girl in the dorms, stolen kisses in laundry rooms. But nothing like. She gestured between them, words failing, heat rising. Elena's foot hooked Jamie's ankle, anchoring. Like this. The touch grounded but stirred embers. They left arm in arm, streetlights haloing them. Walking the wet sidewalks to Elena's apartment, brownstone walk-up, stairs creaking under hurried steps. Inside the space was Elena. Books stacked like sentinels, a fern wilting on the sill from neglect. They tumbled to the bed, sheets cool against fevered skin, exploring with daylight's honesty, no storm to blame. Elena's touches turned worshipful, lips mapping Jamie's ribs, eliciting giggles that dissolved into moans. Jamie straddled her, hands pinning wrists, reversing roles. Elena's please now, please yes, voice breaking on edges. Climax built slow, a symphony of gasps and whispers, bodies slick, the headboard thumping rhythmic against plaster. Afterward, tangled in damp linens, Elena traced Jamie's tattoo. A small wave on her hip, inked post-breakup. Fitting, she murmured, kissing it. You weathered me. Jamie smiled, sleepy, fingers in Elena's hair. And you begged for mercy. Got grace instead. Sleep came deep, rain tapping lullaby on the pain. But morning brought reality's bite. Elena's alarm blaring 6 a.m. news. Storm cleanup continues, university reopens fully. Duty called but now laced with promise. The lecture hall buzzed with post-storm energy. Students shuffling in with damp backpacks, chatter laced with tall tales of flooded subways and power outages that turned nights into block parties. Elena stood at the podium, laser pointer in hand, her voice a steady anchor through synaptic plasticity slides. Neurons don't bend to chaos, she intoned, clicking to a diagram of firing pathways. They adapt. Rewire. Irony laced her words. Last night's rewiring still hummed in her veins, Jamie's scent faint on her scarf. In the back row, Jamie scribbled notes, but her pen hovered more than wrote, eyes tracing Elena's profile. The sharp jaw, the way her blouse hugged curves memory had etched. A flush crept up her neck. She shifted, thighs pressing together against the ache. Discretion was their pact, but proximity was torture, sweet and searing. Class ended in applause, rare for Elena's no-nonsense style, and students filed out, leaving echoes. Jamie lingered, packing slow until the door clicked shut. Elena's gaze found her. Dark promise in the tilt of her head. Office hours, she said, casual, but her fingers tightened on the podium edge, knuckles paling. Jamie nodded, heart sprinting. The walk was agony. Halls crowded, brushes of shoulders forcing space, stolen glances like sparks on flint. In the office, door locked, Elena was on her before the knob turned fully, mouth claiming with professor's precision, hands efficient in divestiture. Desk again but reversed, Jamie perched, legs parting as Elena knelt, hair loosening from its bun, a wild halo. God, Elena, Jamie gasped, fingers threading silk strands, guiding. Elena's tongue was merciless, circling with scientific intent, drawing whimpers that fogged the window blinds. Release hit fast, Jamie's cry bitten into her sleeve, body quaking as Elena rose, lips glistening, kissing her through the aftershocks. They straightened, breaths ragged. Elena wiping her mouth with a thumb Jamie caught, sucking clean with a wink. Data's looking good, Elena murmured, voice wrecked, handing a folder as cover. Jamie laughed, low and throaty. Peak performance. But as she left, the hallway felt colder, the thrill edged with risk. Weeks blurred into a clandestine rhythm, lab sessions bleeding into touches behind locked doors, coffee runs doubling as handholds in shadowed alleys. Elena's apartment became sanctuary, nights of tangled sheets and confessions over takeout. Elena's fear of vulnerability, rooted in a mentor's betrayal years back. Jamie's pressure from family, the unspoken expectation to settle in ways that chafed her soul. But cracks formed subtle at first. A colleague's offhand, "Who's the girl in your office so much?" At faculty lunch, Elena's laugh too sharp, deflection practiced. Jamie felt it too, peers' whispers, "Lynn's teacher's pet, huh?" Laced with envy or worse. The breaking point came mid-semester. A Friday eve when the lab ran late. Fluorescent hum underscoring tension. Elena reviewed Jamie's thesis draft, red pen slashing margins. "Sloppy," she snapped, voice professor cold. "You know better." Jamie bristled, curls falling forward as she leaned in. "It's good work. You're just..." Words died, scared, threatened by my closeness. The air thickened, unspoken barbs hanging. Elena's eyes flashed. "Just what?" "Challenging me." She stood, chair scraping harsh, inches separating them. The lab felt like that first storm. Air charged, windows dark with encroaching night. Jamie closed the gap, defiant. "Yes, because you need it." Her hand fisted Elena's blouse, pulling, lips crashing in anger-fueled heat. Elena resisted a beat, then surrendered, hands gripping Jamie's hips, bruising, as they backed into shelves, glassware rattling like applause. Clothes shed in frenzy, Elena lifting Jamie onto the counter, cool metal shocking against bare skin. "You drive me mad," Elena growled, fingers delving, curling with expert twists that arched Jamie's back, a moan echoing off tiles. Thunder, real this time, a spring squall brewing. Rumbled approval as Jamie reciprocated, mouth on Elena's breast, teeth grazing nipple to elicit a hiss, hips bucking. They peaked together, cries mingling with rain's patter, bodies slick, collapsing in a heap on the floor. Panting, Elena's head on Jamie's thigh, she whispered, "I'm sorry. The strictness. It's armor." Jamie stroked her hair, damp with sweat. "Then let me help you wear it lighter." Vulnerability bridged them, deeper now, the conflict not end but evolution. Saturday dawned crisp, city awakening with vendor calls and bus brakes hissing. They braved brunch at a Harlem spot. Waffles stacked high, syrup dripping golden. Holding hands under the table, rings glinting casual. Elena's laugh rang freer, head thrown back at Jamie's joke about synaptic misfires in love. "You're my glitch," Elena teased, foot nudging Jamie's calf, heat sparking. But the world intruded mid-bite. Elena's phone buzzed, Dean Hargrove's name flashing. "Rumor mill's churning," he said, voice tinny. "Something about you and Lynn. Clear it up." Elena's fork paused, syrup congealing. "Baseless," she lied smoothly, but her eyes met Jamie's, storm clouds gathering anew. "We'll handle it." They did or tried. Afternoons turned strategic. Separate entrances to events, coded texts like "lab sync at 8. Meaning Elena's bed. Passion intensified, touches desperate. Against the shower wall, water cascading like tears. In the university library stacks, books muffling gasps, pages rustling as covers. One night, post-climax, Elena traced Jamie's spine, voice soft in the dark. "I want to tell them. No more shadows." Fear laced it. Tenure reviews looming, the field's old boys club waiting to pounce. Jamie turned nose to nose. "Then do." "I'm ready." But doubt flickered. Her own dreams, PhD postdoc, hung on Elena's word. The meaningful turn came unexpectedly. A department mixer in the faculty lounge. String lights twinkling, jazz humming low, wine flowing red as secrets. Elena, in a sleek black dress that hugged like sin, cornered by Hargrove. Jamie hovered at the punch bowl, ladle clinking, nervous. "You're glowing, Reyes," Hargrove slurred, hand on her elbow. "New flame." Elena's laugh was ice. "Something like that." Gaze finding Jamie, resolve stealing. She crossed the room, hand extended. "Dance." Heads turned, subtle but seismic. Jamie took it, palm warm, pulling her to the floor. Bodies swayed close, Elena's breath on her ear. "This is me begging no more. Claiming." Whispers rippled, but they moved through, steps sinking like heartbeats. The song ended. Elena didn't let go. Everyone, she called, voice carrying, meet Jamie Lynn. My partner. My equal. Gasps, clinks of glasses halting. Hargrove's brow furrowed. A junior prof smiled sly. Jamie's chest swelled, tears pricking, pride, fear, love crashing like waves. Backlash brewed slow, emails terse, meetings scheduled. But Elena faced them head-on, Jamie at her side. Hands linked under tables. Ethics be damned, Elena said later, in bed, fingers laced. Love rewires everything. Jamie kissed her slow, meaningful. And we're the proof. Fall leaves crunched underfoot like brittle bones as Elena and Jamie navigated the campus paths, scarves whipping in crisp winds. The announcement had rippled outward. Faculty murmurs turning to cautious nods. Students whispering with wide-eyed awe. Reyes and Lynn? Power couple goals. One undergrad posted anonymously on the forum. Emoji hearts defying the trolls. But beneath the buzz, tension coiled. Elena's tenure packet due, Jamie's defense looming. The university's HR policy a noose disguised as guidelines. In Elena's office, mid-review of Jamie's latest lit review, the knock came, Hargrove, face etched like weathered stone. We need to talk. Both of you. His eyes flicked between them, disapproval veiled as concern. They sat, Jamie's knee pressing Elena's under the desk. A silent fortitude. Fraternization clause. Hargrove began, folder slapping open. It's clear. Student-faculty. Complicates. Elena's chin lifted, voice steel. Jamie completes her degree next spring. Then what? We vanish. Sarcasm dripped, but her hand found Jamie's thigh, squeezing reassurance. Hargrove sighed, chair creaking. It's optics. Donors. The board. He leaned forward, voice dropping. Step back, Elena. Advise from afar. Protect your career. The word career landed like a slap. Elena's lifeblood, forged in sleepless nights and silenced doubts. Jamie's grip tightened, nails biting crescents. With respect, she interjected, calm but fierce. That's not protection. That's erasure. Silence stretched, thick as fog off the Hudson. Hargrove's gaze softened fractionally. Think on it. Deadlines Monday. Door clicked shut, leaving echoes. Elena slumped, head dropping to hands. I can't lose this. Or you. The confession cracked, raw as exposed wire. Jamie pulled her close, chair swiveling, arms wrapping. You won't. We fight smart. Lips brushed temple, salt taste of stress. They stayed like that, breath sinking until resolve rebuilt. Plans sketched on napkins. Consults with union reps, emails to allies. That night, in Jamie's cramped off-campus apartment, posters peeling, radiator hissing like a kettle, they channeled fury into fire. Elena pushed Jamie against the door. Key still in lock, mouth devouring with desperate edge. Mine, she growled, hands yanking jeans down, fingers plunging without prelude. Jamie's cry sharp against her shoulder. They fucked like war, Jamie flipping them, straddling Elena on the threadbare rug, grinding hips in punishing rhythm, nails raking back to draw red lines. Elena arched, please tumbling. Harder, yes. Climax ripping through like lightning, leaving them wrecked, sweat slick on the floor. After curled fetal, Elena whispered, I begged once. Won't again. But for you. Always. Monday dawned gray, coffee bitter on tongues as they marched to HR. Linked arms defiant. The meeting dragged. Policies recited like scripture, warnings veiled threats. But Elena countered, voice unwavering. Discrimination under Title IX. We're documenting. Jamie added data. Precedents from other Ivies, couples thriving post-graduation. They left unscathed, probationary nods exchanged. Victory tasted sweet but fragile. Walking out, wind-tugging scarves, Jamie slipped a hand into Elena's pocket, fingers lacing. We did it. Elena smiled, rare and radiant. Together. Winter crept in, snow blanketing the quad in hush white, muffling the world's clamor. Their routine deepened, mornings tangled in Elena's bed, coffee brewed with lazy kisses. Evenings at queer open mics in the village, Elena's applause fierce for Jamie's poetry slams, words weaving their story in metaphor and fire. But conflict simmered domestic now. Elena's workaholic lapses, dinners cold on tables, Jamie's late study nights, Texts unanswered till dawn. A spat erupted over Thai takeout, steam rising like tempers. You prioritize slides over us. Jamie accused, chopsticks clattering. Elena's fork stabbed noodles. And you treat me like a mentor, not a lover. Professor, pass the sauce? Herb flashed raw. Words escalated, doors slammed. Elena storming to the couch, Jamie to bed. Hours ticked, clock glowing accusatory. Midnight found Elena slipping in, sheets cool, apology in her touch. I'm scared, she admitted, spooning Jamie, breath warm on neck. Of failing you. Like I failed others. Jamie turned, nose nuzzling. We're not others. We're us. Forgiveness sealed in slow kisses, bodies reconnecting gentle. Fingers tracing scars, mouths mapping peace. Dawn found them dozing, snow tapping window like applause. Spring bloomed tentative, cherry blossoms dusting paths pink. Jamie's defense approached, nerves fraying like old rope. Elena coached relentlessly. Mock orals in the living room, wine poured post-victory. You'll crush it, Elena vowed, pride swelling as Jamie paced, words tumbling brilliant. The day came. Wood-paneled room, committee stern as owls. Jamie stood tall, voice steady, dismantling critiques with data darts. Elena watched from the back, heart in throat, fingers twisting program. When the chair nodded, pass with honors. Jamie's whoop echoed Elena's tears unashamed. Celebration spilled into a rooftop bar. City lights sprawling below like neural nets firing. Champagne fizz, dresses swirling in breeze. To Dr. Lin, Elena toasted, glass clinking, eyes devouring. Jamie pulled her close, dance floor makeshift. To us. Untrapped. Lips met soft, public now, cheers rippling. No storm, just stars. Yet meaning deepened in quiet aftermath. Jamie's postdoc offer, from Stanford across coasts, landed like a thunderclap. Go, Elena urged over dinner, voice brave. Your path. Jamie's fork paused, eyes glistening. Hours. Debate raged nights, pros weighed, cons emotional. Elena's tenure granted, anchor solid. Jamie's star rising, wings itching. Decision crystallized in a park, benches slick with dew, ducks quacking indifferent. I stay, Jamie said, hand in Elena's. Build here. With you. Not sacrifice, choice meaningful as vows. Elena kissed her, tears salting lips. Mercy granted. Love earned. Summer heat baked the city. Air thick with asphalt steam and vendor pretzels. They vacationed upstate. Cabin by lake, pines whispering secrets. Days swam lazy, water cool on sun-kissed skin. Nights on porch swings, fireflies blinking Morse. Elena opened fully, childhood tales of Bronx block parties, fire hydrants spraying joy. Jamie shared Flushing markets, durian stench and maternal hugs tight. One eve, storm brewing distant, Elena knelt by the dock, ring box velvet. Marry me. Simple band, silver wave etched. Not as professor. As yours. Jamie gasped, thunder rumbling yes. Always. They made love on the pier, waves lapping rhythm, bodies arching under lightning-veiled sky. Climax of vow, meaningful crest. Wedding whispers wove through their days, plans sketched on lab napkins. Small ceremony, Central Park gazebo, close kin only. Elena's mother, Rosa, arrived from the Bronx, silver-streaked hair and hugs bone-crushing. Me hija finally, she beamed, eyeing Jamie. She keeps you soft, no? Accents thick but acceptance warmer. Jamie's family trickled in hesitant. Parents from Flushing, faces etched tradition. Dinner at dim sum hall proved bridge. Rosa's stories of Elena's tomboy scrapes mirroring Mr. Lin's tales of Jamie's bike wrecks. Laughter bridged gaps, steam from baskets veiling blushes. But undercurrents stirred. Elena's colleague, Dr. Vance, a Silver Fox skeptic, cornered her at a pre-wedding mixer. This union, distracting from your edge. His martini swirled judgmental. Elena's laugh was blade-sharp. It hones it. Jamie, overhearing, squeezed her hand under the high top, nails grounding. Later in the cab home, Elena vented. He sees weakness. I see strength. Jamie kissed her temple, cab rumbling over potholes. Show him. Us. That night lovemaking turned triumphant. Jamie atop, slow rolls building to frenzy, Elena's cries echoing off high ceilings, release a roar defying doubters. Vows day dawn golden September sun gilding leaves. Gazebo arched ivy friends in sundresses, air humming bees in anticipation. Elena in cream linen simple. Jamie in sage curls crowned flowers. Rings exchanged, waves interlocking, words whispered. Through storms I choose you. Rosa dabbed eyes, Mr. Lynn nodded proud. Reception spilled to a rooftop, jazz floating. Cake sliced with shared fork, frosting smeared in laughs. Dances blurred. Mother-daughter sways. Jamie twirling Elena till skirts flared. Night fell starry, toasts toasting futures. Honeymoon whisked them to Provincetown. Cape Cod's queer haven, dunes rolling gold. Beach walks barefoot, sand gritty between toes. Clam shacks steaming, butter dripping chins. Nights in a lighthouse B&B. Bed creaking under passions renewed. Elena's mouth between thighs, waves crashing sink. Jamie's fingers painting Elena's back. Moans mingling with gull cries. Return brought routine-laced joy. Shared commute, coffee's handoffed at lights. Elena's lectures peppered with Jamie's inside jokes, winks hidden in slides. But academia's grind bit. Elena's sabbatical denied. Family distractions cited veiled. Jamie's grant app stalled, whispers of favoritism. Conflict peaked at a conference in Boston. Panels droning, hotels echoing footsteps. Elena keynote, voice commanding neural resilience. Jamie networked fierce, cards exchanged. But post-talk in the bar, Vance lurked, scotch in hand. Marriage suits you. Softly. Smirk slimy. Elena's retort fired. It suits me wholly. Jamie arriving, arm slipped Elena's waist. Claim public. Vance retreated, tail tucked. Room that night. Fury transmuted. He doesn't get it, Elena fumed, pacing carpet plush. Jamie caught her backing to wall, hands pinning. Then teach him. Kiss ignited, clothes shedding in trail. Elena's blouse buttons popping, Jamie's skirt hiked. Against the mirror they watched, Elena's reflection arching as Jamie's tongue delved. Gasps fogging glass. Reversal, Elena's fingers thrusting deep, Jamie's cries bouncing off marble. Climax shattered, bodies sliding down. Elena's head on Jamie's breast. You're my mercy, she breathed. Every time. Back in New York they channeled resolve, Elena's op-ed in the campus paper. Love in the Ivory Tower. Why Inclusion Strengthens Science. Jamie co-authored. Words weaving personal to universal. Backlash barked. Letters to editors snarling agenda. But support swelled. Allies signing petitions, queer faculty outing solidarity. Meaning crystallized in small victories. Elena's sabbatical granted, revised. Personal growth lauded. Jamie's grant funded. Innovative partnership, noted. Home became haven. Kitchen renos, tiles grouted joint, paint splashed on cheeks and laughs. Anniversary neared. 1 year post-vows, storm season lurking. They planned intimate dinner at that first bar, then home. But Elena surprised. Lab cleared, candles flickering on workbenches, beakers blooming roses. Full circle, she said, pulling Jamie close. Dance improvised. Radio crooning Sinatra soft. Remember the thunder? Elena murmured, hand on hip. Jamie smiled, swaying. Best trap ever. Lips met, slow burn to blaze. Counter again, Elena lifting her. Legs wrapping, thrusts deep and deliberate. Cries harmonizing with phantom rain. After, tangled on the floor, Elena traced Jamie's ring. I begged once. Now I thrive. Jamie kissed her palm. We both do. Life layered. Promotions earned, travels snatched. Road trip to Grand Canyon, echoes vast as their bond. Family gatherings, roses tamales steaming beside Jamie's mom's dumplings, cultures mashing joyful. Conflicts ebbed. Petty spats over laundry, mended in bed with touches tender. Larger like Elena's health scare, a dizzy spell at lecture. Jamie's hand steady through scans, all clear but lesson etched. Through it, emotion crested, meaningful. Not perfection but persistence. Storms came, literal in nor'easters rattling pains. Figurative in rejection's stinging. But mercy evolved, no longer begged but embodied in forgiveness quick and love fierce. Years folded like well-worn maps, edges soft from handling. Elena, at 50, chaired the department. Now office expanded, walls lined with awards, but door always ajar for Jamie's drop-ins, coffee steaming shared. Jamie, 30, tenured assistant prof, her corner nook buzzing with advisees, curly hair silver-threaded early from stress laughs. Their brownstone, once Elena's solo, now echoed with life. Bookshelves groaning dual disciplines, kitchen calendar scrawled joint, conferences crossed, date nights starred. Morning's ritual. Elena brewing dark roast, aroma curling upstairs. Jamie patting down in socks, kiss hello lingering, hands wandering hems. Late grader, Jamie'd mutter, Elena's fingers slipping under tea eliciting shivers. Breakfast hasty. Oatmeal stirred one-handed, news droning, politics grim. Campus evolved too. Queer Resource Center bloomed, Elena's push. Policies shifted, couples' clauses softened to equity. But scars lingered. Vance retired bitter, Snipes in memoirs. A student sued once. Bias cried, but evidence cleared, Jamie's testimony unflinching. A new storm brewed, not weather but personal. Elena's fertility whispers, late-night talks of family. Kids, she'd ask, head on Jamie's lap. Fingers tracing stretch marks imagined. Jamie, ever practical, weighed. Adopt? Foster? Or just us enough? Decision dance slow. Foster classes attended, home studies passed. First placement. Mia, 8, braids wild, eyes wary from group homes. She arrived tentative, backpack clutched like shield. Elena knelt, eye level. This your room? Posters half-taped, stuffed bear waiting. Jamie cooked pasta, sauce bubbling welcoming. Dinner chatter halting. Mia's whispers of school bullies met Elena's tales of Bronx brawls, one with words. Bedtime stories layered. Jamie's dragon-slaying epics, Elena's star chart dreams. Nights post-tuck-in, they'd collapse on couch, wine loosening. She's scared, Elena'd say, Mia's laugh still echoing. Jamie's arm around. Like we were. Lovemaking shifted, quieter, aware of walls thin but deeper, touches reverent as prayers. Elena's mouth on Jamie's core, slow laps drawing gasps muffled in pillows. Jamie's fingers inside, curling to that spot. Elena's bite on shoulder silencing moans. Bond grew. Mia's soccer games, Elena cheering horse. Art projects, Jamie's hands paint-smeared guiding. But rupture came. Mia's biomom surfaced, visits mandated, tears nightly. Stay. Mia begged one storm-lashed eve, thunder booming like heartbreaks. Elena held her, rocking. Always try. Jamie joined, trio huddled, rain lashing like grief. Courts dragged, appeals filed. Elena's advocacy fierce, papers filed pro bono. Resolution. Kinship denied but therapy mandated. Mia's trust rebuilt brick by tier. Through it their core held. Date nights stolen, museum wanders hand in hand. Whispers in galleries of sculptures entwined. Like us, Jamie'd say, Elena's chuckle warm. Climax of their arc. 20th anniversary. Mia, 12 now, braces glinting grins. They returned to that lab, retired Elena, consultant now. Jamie, full professor, cleared space, string lights strung, beakers, champagne flutes. Mia officiated, voice cracking proud. You trapped each other. Best cage. Vows renewed, Elena's I begged mercy once. Found grace eternal. Jamie's storms pass. We endure. Rings twisted, kisses sealed, Mia's hug crushing. Party spilled homeward, friends toasting. Rosa dancing with Mr. Lin, cultures swirled. Later, Mia asleep, they slipped to bed. Bodies familiar yet thrilling. Elena atop, slow grind, eyes locked. Love you. Jamie arching, hands on hips. Forever. Climax crested, gentle, waves not thunder. Sighs blending in dark. After spooned, Elena murmured. Meanings not end. It's every dawn. Jamie kissed shoulder. Hours. Years stacked. Mia off to college, empty nest echoing but travels filled. Europe rambles, Paris cafes kissing under Eiffel glow. Asia roots, Jamie's kin embracing Elena full. Conflicts mellowed. Health check-ins routine. Hands held in waiting rooms. Spats over thermostats resolved in laughs. Legacy bloomed. Elena's book on trauma bonds, dedicated to J&M, My Rewiring. Jamie's TED Talk, vulnerability viral. Storms came. Global in pandemics locking doors, personal in losses like Rose's quiet fade, graveside hands clasped. Through all emotions arc meaningful. From begged mercy to mutual grace, love not trap but tether. In twilight years porch rockers creaking, sunsets painting huts in gold, they'd reminisce thunder's first crack lips first meet. Best storm, Elaine'd say, hand in Jamie's wrinkles mapping lives shared. Jamie'd squeeze. Endless mercy,